Hello, welcome to Nerd Council. You're home for everything nerd. I'm Ludo. What's going on?
My name, as always, is Timmy.
I'm Ryan.
What's happening with you guys? What's going on? Anything new?
Not much. Just chilling. Still just waiting for the Snyder Cut. We get closer and closer.
How long we got now? It's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that.
2 weeks.
Yeah, it's
2 weeks.
It's 18th of March, right?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much counting down the days at the minute.
It's got a little calendar already, like
Yeah.
excellent every day as it goes on.
Speaking of the Snyder Cut, what's your thoughts on him originally wanted Batman to impregnate Lois Ryan? What's your thoughts there?
I added up to news. We're going to come to that. We're going to address that.
Okay,
We're going to address that because it's too early. It's too early. It's too early.
Gone.
Yeah, let's get into the episode right away because to be honest, apart from like work stuff, nothing really happened this week. Although I will say, are you not going to watch the Meghan Markle interview?
Yeah. When is it?
I think it's like 8. But you know, ITV might cancel it, innit?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I can't lie to you. I'm gonna get the people post the clips. I'm not gonna watch it live because I don't care for the Royals too.
This was the show, bro. Bet. All right, cool. So poll for this week, we asked, with the Godzilla vs Kong movie coming up later this month, who do you think is gonna come out on top? So 54% of people said Godzilla, 46% of people said King Kong. Now, personally, I'm going with the gigantic dinosaur that shoots out gamma beams in it. So that's just me in it. I don't know about you two.
Personally, I'm going for the much smarter creature.
So Godzilla, calm. All right, cool. All right, moving on.
King Kong.
Kong knows how to use weapons. Kong can
Exactly.
Are you trying to say Godzilla is intelligent?
I'm not saying Godzilla's
not as intelligent
but it's not as intelligent as Kong. No way.
Make it make sense for me, please. Like, make the point.
Okay. What's smarter, a gorilla or a lizard?
No. Because it's Kong and Godzilla are not just a gorilla and a lizard.
I'm just breaking it down for you.
Yeah, but Kong's definitely smarter. It's evident.
He's smarter.
In what though? What have you seen that makes it evident that he's smarter?
For one, let me go into this. He fishes for his food. He creates weapons. He interacts with humans on different things. He knows to communicate through different forms, through sign language, whatever it may be. What else?
I'm not accepting that, but I hear what you're saying. But I'm not accepting it.
Kong's smart, man.
But Kong being smarter does not stop him from getting mashed up by the gigantic terror that is Godzilla, who, like I said, literally shoots out gamma beams from his mouth. Come on.
Doesn't mean you're going to win just because you have gamma beams.
Yeah, it's a freaking gamma beam. What are we talking about here? It's a freaking laser coming out of his mouth. Are you telling me King Kong to the face?
The old Kong we saw was a baby as well. They stated that was a baby Kong. So it's not even like the Kong that we saw on Skull Island. It's going to be a lot bigger.
Okay, but still, like it's still the freaking laser beam, man. Come on.
Well, I'm going Kong in it. I'm Team Kong.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll see.
All right,
cool. Should we get into some? What are we moving on to?
Let's get into. So we're going to list of questions. I think I liked. Do you know what? I like the setup we had from the last episode. I feel like sticking all the kind of listener question stuff right at the end doesn't really help. Stick at the beginning, get out of the way, get into the nitty gritty of everything else later. So we already got one question this week anyway. It's come from Digital Wolf on Twitter. He asked, "Do you think they will ever address the tease of Adam Warlock? And how would you add him to the MCU, knowing how the MCU changed the landscape compared to the comics?"
It was more than a tease. It was a very big, I would say, Easter egg that Adam Warlock was presented in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Obviously, the post-credit scene. He was actually being created at that moment in time. And obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming on, in 2-3 years? So he probably will have a part to play in that movie.
I wouldn't call it an Easter egg per se. He was very much introduced
in your face.
And it wasn't like he was like a statue in the corner or type thing, or like he was very much present, center frame type situation. So I think he would appear as everyone did kind of expect him to appear some crap in like Endgame or Infinity War, which is expected, but that didn't happen.
Exactly.
But obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the Christmas special's coming out. I can see them trying to do something to introduce Adam Warlock there. Even though I don't really get why we're having a Christmas special for GOTG, but anyway.
But as you've seen with what's called Adam Warlock, it was very literally his cocoon he was in his cocoon being created.
Yeah.
So it's not like something that you have to think about yourself. Literally, Marvel told us this guy's coming sometime.
Yeah, exactly. So he has to come at some point then, otherwise it's just a waste.
He absolutely has to.
For me, I think Guardians is the best place to see him, just because obviously that's where we got like the hint or the tease, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They have to expand on it, otherwise it's a bit of a waste.
Like, he was very much a Guardians of the Galaxy character. I mean, he was in the end credits and stuff like that. So again, it's just down to how. Well, the question is, how do they introduce him? I still feel like
a story that fits for him to be in it, sort of thing.
What story though?
That's what I don't know, because what are they even going to do with Guardians? We don't know what's happening with Guardians post.
But we know the Guardians, they're going to get a big shake up. It's going to be different characters coming in, and also
exactly. We don't even know the roster of the team, so it's hard.
The roster's going to change.
But I think we also have to remember that the next Guardians film is a Christmas special in it, so that changes.
Wait, the full film's going to be a Christmas special.
If the Guardians of the Galaxy is a Christmas special,
going to be a Christmas special.
Let me double check.
What?
TG Christmas film. Yeah.
Like, regardless of that, I remember reading a while back that he's going to be introduced as one of the side villains at the start. Then he gets like a change of heart. He's no longer a villain, because the main reason he gets created, because obviously what's her name is embarrassed of what the Guardians of the Galaxy did to them by stealing the battery. So that's why he's gonna be, I don't mess with the Guardians, so I need to destroy them because my creator said so. But he finds out, obviously he grows more as a person, as a character, and he finds out he's got his own free will, should I say.
I mean, to be honest with you, even though the next like Guardians film is a Christmas special, he still could be introduced in that film in the type of way that, okay, they kind of I know, loose storyline, but kind of celebrating Christmas. She sends Adam after them, especially after all the events of like Infinity War and the Infinity Stones and blah blah blah. They have to face off against Adam. Adam, like you said, gets the change of heart, because goes from a villain to a good guy. More weird Christmas special stuff. Raw to black. Film kind of done. We then have Adam established in the MCU in Guardians of the Galaxy as part of the team. Hopefully, then we see more of him in the next set of films. So. Simple as, yeah.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. Listen, that's how it goes. At this point, Marvel just hire me. All right, for your shit, hire me.
Producer Timmy at Marvel, let's go.
Mate. Let's hope. All right, let's do news. Let's get into the news. First things first. In not the last season finale of WandaVision, in the penultimate episode to WandaVision, we saw the origins of the Scarlet Witch, as it were, or what Marvel are classing as a Scarlet Witch, and us understanding that Wanda got her powers not from the Mind Stone itself, but in a sense, magic was innate to her already. What did you guys kind of think of that, in a sense, retcon of Wanda's origins, or no, the MCU version of Wanda, as it were?
I think it's really good. I like it. I think it makes sense. It's not too far-fetched. I think the way they done it with the scene when she was a kid with the probability hex, I thought it was really good.
Do you think it was a probability hex?
I mean, I don't know, but for me, it's a very good way for them to, like you said, sort of retcon how she got her powers, and it makes sense. And I think they also said that maybe her powers were amplified.
Yeah, so they basically said that the Mind Stone amplified the magic that was already innate to her. And if you look back at the first scene of that episode with Agatha Harkness and the other witches, it's very much, I guess what they were implying is that, you're not made a witch, you're born a witch, because obviously Agatha's mother was a witch, she was a witch, there are clearly other women in this coven who, had witch type abilities or practice witchcraft anyway. So it was a case of the Mind Stone didn't give her abilities, they just enhanced her abilities. And then when we look at sorry to cut him off. With that, obviously she says she was born a witch. What does that make Quicksilver then? Where's his power base come from? That's the question I think a lot of people had. I think the Mind Stone gave Quicksilver his abilities, but with Wanda, because Wanda has this bloodline of magic in her, it amplified what was already there. And then when we look at the season finale, and Agatha Harkness was telling of the origins of the Scarlet Witch, she stated from the book, I can't remember what the book is called, that the Scarlet Witch isn't born, she's made or created. So in that sense, it was the Mind Stone amplifying her powers that made her the Scarlet Witch, user of chaos magic, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. So
with her being a witch or whatnot, it comes in her powers. wouldn't magic, if magic's like innate to her like bloodline, wouldn't that also be innate to Quicksilver's bloodline as well, because they're twins?
Yeah, absolutely. So, but from what we can see with that particular,
or does it only like affect the females?
That's what I was gonna say. So like, it seems that it's very much a female trait, female trait, woman trait. What that gets passed on the bloodline. So it's possible for any women born into the family, into that bloodline, for them to be able to use and practice magic. I think it's one of those things that maybe died out along the years, along the generations, as it were. But it was clear and evident that, Wanda had this innate ability that was awoken by the Mind Stone, hence why she didn't die. There's still the question of why didn't her brother die from the effects of the Mind Stone? Maybe it was to do with the bloodline. Maybe he was a witch too. We don't really know. There's a lot of speculation with that, but from what we've seen, it was very much a trait associated with the women of that bloodline, of that culture, wherever it is. And I think even going back to the episode where her and Vision dressed up in their costumes, as it were, for Halloween, I think she made a reference that her costume was based off like an old Sokovian legend. And I think that's the point we should have been like, oh, okay, well then, in the MCU, the Scarlet Witch is a thing, not just like it is, Wanda Maximoff in this instance. But
so
I like the origin.
So like the MCU, the Scarlet Witch is a title. It's not necessarily
the Scarlet Witch is not necessarily Wanda herself. Wanda is the Scarlet Witch.
Well, now she is, but before there was other Scarlet Witches. Okay.
No.
I think Wanda might be the first to fulfill the conditions to become the first.
There we go.
Witch.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I think it is.
So the Scarlet Witch is more like a legend, something that was to come, like they said, a harbinger of destruction. Wanda essentially became that when she crossed paths with the Mind Stone. So it wasn't a case of like, so Wanda is a Scarlet Witch, but the Scarlet Witch was present before Wanda ever existed. Or the idea of the Scarlet Witch was present before Wanda existed. Yeah. But the question then becomes, what is she a harbinger for? Is it Mephisto? Is it Nightmare? Is it Dormammu coming through to our reality and our realm? Is it
I think it's just probably her going on a crazy one and just, maybe she becoming a villain, a full-time villain.
I don't think so. No.
I don't think so.
I think, like in the closing stages of the finale, she had changed a lot. I mean, she had knowledge, and I think she'll be a lot sort of smarter with her powers. She'll be able to control them a lot more. Now we saw in the post credits, we saw that she had the Darkhold.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
even
the
when
book.
we saw her with Agatha Harkness, look how quickly she learnt the runes from the episodes before. Obviously, that's how she beat her. So she's learning her powers very quickly. So I think next time we see her, she'll be a lot stronger from what we even saw then.
I think it's going to be less. I think from that's going to be less about just like casting, orbs of magic and throwing things at people, to her, casting full-on spells, very similar to how Strange fights and does things as well. So it will be interesting to see how her and Doctor Strange kind of get along and interact. Yeah, because there's a lot of potential for a lot of
Yeah, I think she's gonna be a lot more aware of her powers and how to use them. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't think Doctor Strange is going to like it at first initially, because apparently I saw people saying he doesn't believe in chaos magic.
That's something I did read in the comics, that that chaos magic isn't really a thing in itself, because in magic in the comic books, it's either draw magic from. So you either draw magic from our reality or you draw magic from other dimensions. It's like those are the only kind of two sources of magic, and then chaos magic kind of sits outside of that in its own kind of theory as well. So I can see Strange kind of seeing her as a problem or a threat, especially because if he knows the text as well, the Scarlet Witch, like they say in the text, is a harbinger of destruction. So if he now understands that Wanda is the harbinger, he may feel like he has to put her down. He may have to put her down in a sense.
And also, he's the Sorcerer Supreme, so he's thinking, how can I be Sorcerer Supreme or something that I don't understand fully as well with chaos magic?
Agatha did say that she's more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, though.
Also, he has an ego as well, so he's thinking, how am I the Sorcerer Supreme of all things magic? But there's a part of magic that I don't know,
exactly,
I don't have control over.
Do you think,
like, bro, Doctor Strange has an ego, bro?
Yeah, no, he does. But I'm thinking, do you think Strange could learn chaos magic?
It depends how open he is to learn.
Maybe does he have the capability to, is another thing, but I don't think he ever would, because
I mean, he's a sorcerer supreme. Like, no magic should be beyond his control in a sense.
Yeah, but if you look like the way they are, sort of, they're quite strict with their rules, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you're right.
But the thing is, they always go back on the rules when they end up using dark magic.
Yeah, true.
But I think there's dark magic, then there's chaos magic. Like,
but I think who use dark magic to get to be able to access chaos magic, if that makes sense.
I see that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Falcon and the Winter Soldier promises Easter eggs. Well, I'm kind of expecting that.
Exactly.
You put that in.
I don't know. Put that. That's definitely you, bro.
Nah, I would have known, bro.
I did not put this in. I would not put this in. Maybe there's some context we're missing that we forgot to add to the notes. Maybe there's context, but I'm expecting Easter eggs from the film, from the show. Obviously, references to everything from the first Captain America film right down to Endgame and future comic books. I'm expecting what kind of Easter eggs. I'm not good at finding Easter eggs. I never am. Mm-hmm. I'll leave that for Twitter to do for me. But I'm excited for this show, man. The more I hear about it, the more I'm excited by it. Did you?
Also, that excited me is that they said they are not going to ignore what's happening.
Yeah.
In the real world, in terms of like obviously Black Lives Matter and also just being a black person in America and things racism, so they're not ignoring it. They're going to tackle it some way somehow. So I'm very interested in that. That's what I'm very interested in.
I mean, like we've discussed this before. Like they definitely should address the elephant in the room, as it were, of, you know, again, this black man in this current political climate taking on the mantle of this
Captain America,
white American hero. They have to address that as some kind of way. It's not just something
and
they can just
perfect white American hero as well.
Exactly. Like you can't just kind of brush that aside. Even if I don't know how they're going to do it, but I will say this now: I will appreciate however they do it. Many people may not be receptive of it. Many people might have issues with it. Maybe
skeptical myself.
I think it's fine to be skeptical. I'm not going to.
Is it? Are you skeptical because it's Disney or what?
It's just, well, obviously I'm going to wait to see it, but it's just the execution. They have to do it right. If they're going to do it, then they can't end up reducing it down to some sort of subplot that doesn't really get answered. Or do you know what I mean? They have to cover it over the length of the whole show.
No, definitely.
You can't just be surface level. Otherwise, it then becomes pointless.
It has to be in a sense a recurring theme that is explored in the show. Very much how they explore race in
for me,
Iron Fist.
Like the main plot. It has to be one of the main plots of the show. It has to be. Otherwise, how they won't be able to convey the message properly. It will just become pointless.
Because you don't want them to just be like, oh, race is a throwaway type thing. Yeah, when exactly. In the situation, it's not, because it's still going to be something that people are going to want to address.
That'd be even worse than just not addressing it at all. For me, it would just be lazy.
Cool. Green Lantern HBO Max series set to begin filming next month.
Sorry, what series?
No, did we not miss the Black Superman?
No, I took out. I'm putting obviously the main topic in it.
Oh, okay, cool, fine. It's fine. Yeah. Cool. All right, so yeah, HBO Green Lantern Green Lantern HBO Max series set to begin filming next month. Who have they got in the show? Who have they cast? Yeah.
I don't know what actors. I just know the characters. I think they're using most Lanterns from the court. Simon Barnes, Jessica Cruz.
Let's take a look. See.
Carl Rayner.
He's in Carl Rayner. Obviously, Jessica Cruz. What's his name?
Gardner, I think, as well.
Yeah, Carl Gardner. Yeah. They're using all the human-based lanterns. They're going to use it. It's going to be set throughout a time.
They're not using Howard.
It's a very expansive lantern corps.
So 2 questions I have is, when is this taking place in terms of timelines, and is it going to be linked to the DCEU directly? Because this is a whole TV series that we're talking about now. Yeah. So if it's not linked
the thing is, they said that when I was reading the article, it says it's going to be a TV series, but basically it's going to be like an 8-hour-long movie.
Oh, good.
Because of how much HBO money are put into it.
Of course.
So it'll be the production level is going to be like, obviously it's going to be cinema movie type levels.
So we're talking like Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead type thing.
Yeah,
so
Game of Thrones type
pumping money into it. I'm there for that. Yeah. I want it to be good. I really want it to be good. I like the Green Lanterns. I like the ethos behind their powers, their abilities. I like this.
The willpower stuff is
cool. The willpower stuff, the conflict with the Yellow Lanterns. They need to have the Red Lanterns in there too. Like give us what we've been waiting for, because the Lantern Corps as a whole or even like the whole Lantern spectrum is
Mm.
so interesting. It's such an interesting concept within DC Comics. So for them to have waited this long to do the series, I can wait, but I want it to be good. I mean,
But the reason they waited so long is because obviously how badly the actual Green Lantern movie did, didn't it?
Do you know what? Do you know what though? Do you know what's annoying? Even though the first Green Lantern film was bad, the guy they had as Sinestro, I can't remember his name. He was like the perfect Sinestro, and they missed that opportunity to have. I would have just done a spin-off. Straight up, I would just done a spin-off. Done just Sinestro. Period. Give us a Yellow Lantern film. I would have taken that. Forget Ryan Reynolds and his crappy Green Lantern thing. Give us Sinestro for a whole like hour and a half. I would have taken that straight up because he was perfect. He was honestly perfect. If they recast him, I think that's an amazing idea, but we'll see. I don't know. Black Adam reported casting. It's Dr. Fate. Oh my god, I'm so excited for this. Who they cast? Please tell me someone good.
I've got no idea who they
cast. Please let me find out.
I don't mind who they cast, to be honest. For Dr. Fate, I don't think you're not even gonna.
Exactly, you're not going to see his face.
But it's my thing with Dr. Fate. It's all about the voice.
Yeah, of course.
It's all about the voice and the presence. If you can get that right on screen, I don't care if you can't see his face. That's not the important thing. It's about how he comes across on film.
Yeah.
Let me see. Sorry, Googling. They haven't said.
I'm just so tired how it's taking this long. Yeah, the movie got announced.
I think they might be casting at the minute, as in they're still looking.
I think they might be still.
But I'm just saying, bro, the movie got announced in 2013, bro.
We're not going to get into the DCEU of it all. We've done it before. We're not going to do it again.
Announced in 2013.
We know the issues.
It got announced before Shazam. We've had a whole Shazam movie, bro.
We know the issues DC are facing and Warner Bros are facing. Let's just leave it at that.
But also The Rock as well, because he's had so many different obligations.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
He's been so busy as well. So,
I just want to know who they're going to cast, and it's interesting because if he wasn't in the MCU, I would automatically say Benedict Cumberbatch could take on the role. But obviously,
of Dr. Fate, obviously,
of Dr. Fate, he would be sick. He would be sick. But it'll be interesting to see who they cast, man. The Coming to America sequel film. Did anyone see it?
I was meant to watch it yesterday, but I've been seeing clips. I saw Rick Ross with an African accent.
Okay, so I saw it.
It's one of those movies that's so bad that it's good.
It's so bad that it's bad, but there are a lot of throwbacks to the original film, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, of course.
I enjoyed the throwback moments. Outside of that, I didn't particularly like the film. I thought
it's one of the films that should have been made type thing. It should have been made.
Yeah, it wasn't needed. It wasn't needed at all. But I guess they had the budget, they had the money, and I'm
Amazon, isn't it?
Amazon probably paid them more anyway, so it's fine. But it wasn't needed. It wasn't a needed film.
You hear about we're probably going to get to Back to the Future like movie as well, like a reboot.
Why?
Literally, sometimes you got to leave some classics alone.
Just leave the classics alone and start hiring people who can actually pitch you new ideas and new shows. I don't understand having to go over this rehash of these reboots over and over and over and over again. Like, there are so many talented writers and movie script directors out there looking for work and looking to pitch ideas. Go find them. Start tell us new stories. We don't want reboots and rehashed sequels. We're done. It's over. Just stop. Please. Anyway. Moving on. Oh God.
Oh, this is part of the Black Adam casting. So we know that the film will introduce a version of Justice Society of America.
We do.
Original superhero team. The film already cast Aldous Hodge as Hawkman and Noah Centineo as Atom Smasher and Quintessa Swindle as Cyclone.
The lineup's good.
Yeah, I really fuck with Aldous Hodge. I really like him.
Oh, but he's been putting in work for that role already. I've seen he's gonna be amazing as Hawkman. I think. I'm excited for this Black Adam film. I really am. I wasn't initially, but I think the more I hear about it and the more it's actually being made, the more I'm excited for it.
For me, it's because it's been so long. I'm kind of like.
Yeah, I hear that. But every time, like when it was fandom and they put the concept art out, I see all the concept art and obviously the characters they confirmed. Ever since then, I've been excited. I can't wait to see the JSA.
Same.
Because we've never seen them before, or not properly anyway.
Okay, cool. You speak of the JSA, Justice Society World War II first clip released. Have you guys seen it?
No.
Animated.
I haven't seen it. So what, the DC animated versus back?
No, it's I think it's like a standalone movie.
Okay.
But obviously the Flash goes back in time. Obviously the Wonder Woman's there.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. Okay. I can check that out. I haven't seen that actually.
Yeah, it's like obviously it's coming out next month, but the trailer's out. It's a pretty decent trailer. See some of the old, Justice Society members. It looks cool, man. Plus, as we know, DC doesn't make animated movies.
They do. They do.
Animated movies, animated TV shows. They are top of the pops with that one.
They do very well. Not top of the pops. Yeah. All right. Zack Snyder teases Batman and Deathstroke team up in Justice League.
I like it.
I will take it with a pinch of salt.
Speaking of that, with the Batman and Deathstroke team up, because as we know, at the end of the original, not the original, Joss Whedon Justice League movie, we see obviously Deathstroke at the end on a boat. It was actually that was deleted and cut footage when he was actually meet with Batman. So Joss Whedon changed it, but it was with this one.
Oh,
we're gonna see them team up instead.
Yeah, that's a major change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
I'm a wait to see.
I like the concept of it though, because I feel if you look at both characters, Batman and Deathstroke, if you were to put them in a position like that, that's probably how those characters would react. Mm-hmm. They're both smart enough to know this for the greater good, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Deathstroke is smart enough to know sometimes it's time to team up with Batman. It wouldn't be the first time they've done it in the comics before. So
yeah.
And especially when it's like a world level event like this, where no matter what side of the pendulum you swing on, you got to come together because there's things that are bigger and better than you.
Exactly.
Do you think that's why Joker's making an appearance? Because obviously, when it comes to the end of the world type thing, it's not about whether you're a villain or a hero. It's just about defeating. I think
Joker's appearance might be reduced just to Batman's nightmare sequence. I think that's what I'm thinking at the minute. You might see him during the nightmare sequence. And that's about it. I'm not sure if it's
but if he does make an appearance, it would be obviously towards that. Obviously, there's no longer just heroes and villains. Just literally everyone will suffer if we let these guys take over the world type thing. It's happened obviously if you guys remember going way back, like obviously the DC animated TV series, the Justice League animated TV series, called that one the final few episodes when literally all the heroes and the villains they link up to fight. I think it was what's his name? What's that big robot? Brainiac, yeah.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Those type of link-ups happen already. There's already set precedent for it.
I mean, speaking of concepts, did you, so I can't remember who it was on Twitter. I apologize to said person, but someone on Twitter released this document that showed all the plans they had and storylines they had in place for the next two sequels of Justice League around when Zack was still in charge. And one of the ones that caught my eye was that the Riddler was given the anti-life equation by Lex Luthor, and he ended up solving it, which I find is kind of crazy that the one person that could solve
like that.
Fam, this is what I mean. Like the one person who could solve the anti-life equation, because in itself is a riddle, is the Riddler, and it's just annoying that we have to discuss this again. That all these plans that were in place got chucked out the window once Zack left and Whedon took over, and it's just a shame that we're probably not going to get this film.
But then again, for those good ideas like that, Zack does have some wild
ones. Of course.
Like for example, Ryan, let's have a chat. Why did Zack want Batman to impregnate Lois? What's your thoughts on that?
I like that idea.
I don't know. It's a bit of a goofy one, isn't it? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Also, another one. Why did he kill the wrong Robin as well?
Which Robin did he kill?
He killed Dick Grayson, not Jason Todd. He said the Joker killed Dick Grayson, not Jason Todd.
Wow. Why?
Because obviously in Batman's lair, he has the Joker.
Yeah.
And obviously on that, what's it called? Vero. What's that app they likes using?
Vero, yeah.
Yeah, Vero. Yeah, so Vero, like someone asked him about it. So yeah. So did he kill Jason? And like, no, that's Dick Grayson. That
and even one of the latest.
By doing that, he changes the origins of Jason Todd and obviously the Red Hood and going forward with that, and also he basically get rid of Dick Grayson as well going forward.
Well, I mean, knowing Zack, it could be a case of like, well, Joker kills Dick Grayson, Joker kills Jason Todd too. Like if we're gonna keep a buck, he could kill them all. Like the Joker could be that much of a problem for Batman that he's just out here killing all his sidekicks.
I just think it was probably a thing where he wasn't going to use the whole Bat family
Fair enough.
So
But I'm
he
just saying,
was-
with that also, the one thing that I did like, obviously, as we know, the Batman has said multiple times that letting Jason still die is his biggest failure as the Batman. Just as a bigger part of his character
yeah.
storyline, there is just kind of been taken away, if that makes sense. Even if he might not use the Bat family story, he's just having it there, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't agree with it either. I would have preferred it if he had stuck to the original.
I think so too, actually. But it's like Zack to have that kind of wild card moment in his script writing and stuff. But I don't know what would it even look like for the Riddler to solve the anti-life equation on the big screen. What would that moment even feel like? Do you know what I mean? Because
I think it'll kind of be a situation like, like the Riddler, he got like that crazy power up when he became Hush.
Yeah.
And I think it'll kind of be like he always go through the Lazarus pit, get a crazy power, become all smart and cool. Then maybe he'll solve it like that.
Or what if it's the case of like he ends up solving it and he goes mad, and that turns him into Hush. Because he doesn't necessarily have to tell anyone what the answer is to the anti-life equation. He could just end up solving it. We get this moment on screen where
it leads him to madness.
We see this realization that he has solved it, and he ends up just going batshit mad and ends up becoming the DCEU equivalent of Hush and does whatever Hush does. But I just find that interesting that somehow this one man is able to solve the thing that Darkseid has struggled all his life to solve.
So many different crazy powerful beings.
It's mad, bro.
For me, it is a bit far fetched. I would.
I agree.
Like if he had done that and gone along with it, I'd have probably been a bit like, what? Like, I'd prefer it if it was someone like Lex Luthor solved it.
Nah, I don't know.
To me, that would make much more sense to me.
But that's too obvious, though, isn't it?
Obviously not.
But I think that's why in the script itself it was put forward that the anti-life equation isn't necessarily an equation itself; it's a riddle. Do you know what I mean? That kind of makes it make sense.
So in a way, like people for all this time they're looking at it in the wrong light,
in the wrong kind of way. So, but then the question then becomes: if the Riddler can solve it, can't Batman?
Exactly.
Does Batman know what the anti-life equation is?
If Riddler can solve it, then Batman.
If Riddler can solve it, then Batsy can solve it. And if Batsy can solve it, maybe Batsy has known all this time and kept quiet.
Exactly.
Maybe.
That does sound like him. Cool. Blade will probably enter production later this year. I'm buzzing for that.
Do you think they bring up Wesley Snipes?
I keep getting confused. Is it a TV show or is it a movie?
It's a movie, bro. It's a movie. It's a movie. Getting the whole shebang.
I'm ready for it.
Do you really want Wesley Snipes back?
I want Wesley Snipes back. I don't know how they want to include Wesley Snipes in it.
But don't you rate Mahershala Ali?
No, you got me wrong. I rate Mahershala Ali. I rate him highly. I think it's going to be an amazing Blade. But I think, look, if we're going to keep it buck, we'll keep it all 100, yeah? Wesley Snipes' Blade, for a lot of people, set the precedent for what the MCU became in the future. Blade
was one of the first.
Blade and Spider-Man, those two films set pace. Yeah. And I think if we're gonna do a bring Blade to the MCU, have him tied to these characters the way he's supposed to be tied to these characters, Wesley Snipes should make an appearance in some way somehow. I don't know whether Snipes is Blade himself, whether there are now two Blades, whether there's Blade's dad and Blade's mom. I don't know how they want to do it. I don't write it.
I hear what you're saying, but obviously that Blade, that's 18 plus, bro. 18 plus.
Yeah, but we have well, Disney Plus hasn't now.
Even then, until I actually see it, I don't trust Disney.
Well, I mean, Deadpool's on there.
The adult content.
Deadpool's on there.
Yeah, but if it's a movie, then it won't be released on Disney Plus, will it?
No, but Deadpool is on, their streaming service, so they obviously have.
I think it's a bit different.
How so?
Because Deadpool was obviously with Fox, and it had the 18 plus or the R-rated movie. Yeah. So they've already done that, and then Disney have acquired it, whereas they're doing
an 18 plus movie
firmly in the MCU, and the MCU hasn't done any of that.
Exactly, they have not done it at all. So with Disney, they can say we've got adult content, and to actually see it and believe it, see the thing, it's gonna be worse.
They have to make Blade an 18+ movie, and they have to make Blade the movie itself 18+, right? And then they also have to allow Blade to interact and integrate into the other MCU movies and theories and storylines and timelines and everything else without having to then sacrifice, in a sense, their PG 12+, 15+ kind of
the adult maturity.
Exactly. So Blade should be able to stand alone as an 18 rated movie, right? And still feel like an MCU movie and still be connected to all the other movies in, whatever it is they're leading up to in the future. And Blade should still also be able to be a character that they can input into other movies.
Okay, but here's a thought for you.
Go for it.
Would Blade not stick out like a sore thumb if you put him in like one of the Avengers movie?
I mean,
Wesley Snipes Blade. Would he not stick out like a sore thumb?
In what? Because he's dark and gloomy and.
Bruv, would he not stick out like a sore thumb?
No, but what do you mean stick out like a sore thumb?
Compared to the Avengers, not just as a character, just in terms of the maturity and what the movies bring, and just the vibe of these movies. You can't say
I'm not saying it's the same vibe.
You're saying though. With the new Blade, with Ali, what they can do is they can mold him to fit within the MCU because they've already got the MCU built, and then they're creating this new character. But it's hard for them to just take Wesley Snipes and just put him in the MCU and for it to.
I don't think Snipes' Blade could fit into the MCU that way, because in a sense his character is very much like a, I'm gonna do what the hell I want when I want. F you, F this, shit this, shit that, blah, 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 blah. So like, I think it's very difficult to then tone that down to like, a child-friendly, in a sense, character. So they would have to. I think they can keep the adult themes of Blade without making him, sweat like a sailor. They can still keep. I still think they could keep the gore, the blood, the ruthlessness, that kind of stuff without then having to, go back to the 90s and have everyone swearing blindly left, right, center just because it's an adult film. Do you know what I mean? And then still have Blade be this dark character in the MCU movies that doesn't play well in the team, isn't here for the whole like superhero match, superhero team up type stuff. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know. They must have. I trust Feige. He's got this. He's got this.
Fair enough.
I'll leave it to him.
Cool. Captain Marvel 2 seeking a Boyega, Michael B. Jordan type for Misty role. What does that mean?
I don't know. I guess they just want black and handsome. That's basically what they want. I don't know what the role is though. I don't know what it could be. But I know a lot of people have applied for the role.
Blue Marvel. What's your thoughts on that?
Reach. It's a reach. I don't think we'll get in Blue Marvel anytime soon. If we do, big ups to them. But I don't think it's happening anytime soon. It would be nice, but no. I don't know. I don't see how Blue Marvel would fit into Captain Marvel 2, personally.
We're at that stage where literally Hollywood are only hiring a select few, like 4 or 5 black actors, and that's it. You know how it works. We cycle them through for a couple years. Yeah. Then we get the new fold in, and we're like, oh my god, yeah, new actors, yeah. The old guns kind of get left to the side. The new cycle happens again, and then the new people get chucked in, and it's a rolling cycle, man. It's not going to change, but we'll see. Because if we're being honest, they could have just hired Boyega for the role. But with Boyega, the way he got dealt by Disney, do you think he still wants to rock with them though? Because he's very unhappy with how he dealt. Was that a Disney issue or was that a Lucas film issue? Do you know what I mean? I would say the issue is that with each of the new sequels. The word? Okay, basically the new 3 Star Wars movies, each movie had a different director. So they all had different visions and views for where they're going to take the character. But I feel like the first movie, it was like point towards that John Boyega to be force sensitive. The next movie, now you're basically just a guy who's chasing after Rey. So you basically become a side character. And I don't think he was pitched to be a side character at the start. So you probably expect him to be more. No. Actually, he turns out to be, I'm just a side character who just shouts Rey all the time. And I'm pretty useless besides that. No, 100%. John, they clearly marketed the film with us going in. Think he's going to be thinking John's character was going to. Sorry, go on, Ryan.
Yeah, they literally made me think he was going to be a Jedi.
It wasn't even think. They do you know that it's one of those things where, you know, in the promo and the stuff and everything leading up to the film, they make certain things quite clear in terms of who each character kind of is. And what they were showing us was that John's character was gonna go from Stormtrooper to Jedi.
Yeah,
that was clear cut from the jump. That's what everyone thought was going to happen. It wasn't a case of like, oh, well, misdirect. He wasn't really a Jedi, but he might be. No, it was clear and evident that he was supposed to be a Jedi, and he ended up going from being this potential Jedi to, like I said, shouting Rey for an hour and a half for 3 movies and having no real character development. And then the third film ended up having to, you know, romance the only other black woman in the entire galaxy. And somehow that's supposed. Anyway. All I'm saying is, if they're looking for John Boyega, hire John Boyega in it. But you know, who knows what he's up to nowadays. Lastly, Marvel Studios has begun preliminary production on the mutant feature film mentioned by Kevin Feige at D23, tentatively titled The Mutants.
The film is tentatively titled The Mutants, yeah. So we spent like the whole past few weeks saying Mutants not coming anytime soon, and Kevin Feige said, "Psych."
I mean, it's still not. It's still not
soon.
Saying
it's not coming out WandaVision, but it seems like Kevin Feige got his own plans.
He said 5 years. So 2025, I'm expecting Mutants, which is fine.
It seems like this might come a bit earlier than that.
I mean,
I'm just interested to see how he's gonna integrate mutants into the.
It's gonna be his toughest challenge.
That's his toughest challenge, I would say.
It's gonna be his toughest challenge, and if he gets it right. I think Feige might deserve a few Academy Awards. I won't even lie to you, because it's gonna be difficult. It's not, like you said before. Like, I think the more we speak about it, the more we should all realize that it's not as easy or as simple as a multiverse or you know, a hex or magic, or they were there all along. It's not that simple. It's such a.
At least the more we speak about it, the more
it's a complex introduction. You have to introduce a whole race of people who
have been around
have existed since the beginning of time. And how do you do that without either sacrificing one thing for another? It's not going to be.
And
easy.
it's a race of people that have powers. Like say for example, you introduce a race of people. Say the race is just Chinese people. Just for example, the Chinese people, they do their own thing, but there's nothing extra out of the ordinary where you think, wait, like, what they're doing something's wrong. This is a race of people with powers, bro.
Like you
can't hide it. You
can't just bring them out of thin air.
You can't hide it. You can't downplay it. Like, yeah, it's way too.
Because if they have abilities, someone somewhere's gonna have documented them, sightings, theories, these kind of other
and
things.
Also like brings up the big thing. A part of the obviously the mutants law is where a lot of other humans don't trust mutants because they have powers. They're the next step of evolution, and they see mutants as the next step of evolution. That means they're the ones. The Homo sapiens are going to be those that are dying out. Even in the superhero community where they don't see mutants like the same as them.
Yeah, I find that interesting sometimes. Actually, I was going to make another point, but I do find that interesting that for some reason, all these superheroes and stuff tend to have such an issue with mutants. When you're all one and the same, for keeping it honest with you, like. I don't understand
because mutants they get their power just through like random, obviously just X gene, whoever has X gene. While superheroes they get powers through various different forms. It's not genetics, I would say.
But you're all superpower beings. Why do they?
Exactly, they are all superheroes, but they all get it through different means. You know,
it's like the dark skin, light skin debate. It's like we're all black. What the hell are we doing?
It basically is. You're all within, but you know you see it as different things. Literally, that we've been so many times that literally, obviously, because a lot of mutants, they don't want to be a part of the superhero community or the villain community. They just live their own lives, but because they have powers, they can't necessarily do that.
I still like my faux pterogenesis theory.
That's just saying Inhumans, then, bro.
No. It's not Inhumans, bro. It's not Inhumans. It's not Inhumans.
About the theory.
No.
I've heard the theory. I don't know. I'm just not sold on it. But I do think.
I think it makes sense though. Like
if they do it right. If they do it right. They do it well, they execute it properly, then I do think the possibilities for like other stories they can tell are going to be like endless. So hopefully they do, but you just have to see.
Do you think they have to include Charles Xavier?
No. That's a lot of people's
I don't think they have to.
problems.
But they do have to include. It can't be a completely new roster of mutants. There need to be some of the mutants that we've seen before.
But people are just expecting like Charles Xavier and Magneto to pop out of thin air and just be like, oh yes, I've been here for all this time, and mutant rights and everything else, and blah, blah. Like, no, that's not gonna work. I
remember someone saying, imagine that, like, say they all get their powers at the same time. Yeah, imagine old man coming to you. Let's think, what do you know about these powers, big bro? You got the same time.
What do you know? What do you know about mutant rights? You ain't about mutant rights. Listen, you only be exactly. You only be mutant as long as I have. You talk about mutant rights, bro. Sit down. It's. I don't want. Listen, I want young mutants. I want mutants in their prime and a couple adults who are confused by the powers too. Give me that. I'm happy. I don't want Xavier and Magneto and Cyclops and old woman Jean Grey fainting all the time.
Yeah, but you feel like, say, like in the previous X-Men films, I feel like Cyclops got done dirty.
Oh, absolutely, he did. But I'm tired of him.
So for me, I want to see Cyclops again. I want to see him done properly. Do you know what I mean?
Cyclops is a Fed.
Straight up, facts, straight Fed, bruv. Goody good, like he's too much of a goody, bro. I don't like him.
Too goody.
I don't like him, man. I don't like him. Let him go bad for a bit. Let him go rogue. Now I like him, but until then, now. But yeah, the mutant introduction is going to be interesting. It's going to
be. I would say that is with starting up obviously the MCU as a whole, like as we know it today. That would be Kevin Feige's hardest challenge.
Do you think it'll be make or break?
I wouldn't say make or break. I think Kevin Feige and the MCU has enough cachet. They can still mess it up. That people still gonna rock with the MCU. But I'll say it is the second hardest thing with starting the MCU as we know it today.
Oh, second hardest. No, what's the first?
Yeah, compared to starting the MCU from the scratch.
Right, yeah.
I would say it is the second hardest thing they're doing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Mm-hmm. This episode of the ELGATO podcast is brought to you by ELGATO and the new Wave 1 microphone. Now, I know you're probably thinking this is some generic podcast ad, but mate, you cannot deny the sound quality. The new Wave 1 has allowed us to deliver an incredible audio experience for you guys, while still allowing us to deliver the same great content you all love and enjoy. So go check out the new Wave 1 and see how it can improve your audio content. Now, back to our episode. All right, let's go on to our main topic of today, guys. So we are discussing diversity when it comes to acting and all things acting, as it were. So first point, should you only play a role if you come from that exact community?
That comes with Timmy. You wanted to bring up a point where you saw a guy complaining about Miles Morales and who should play.
Yeah, so a few weeks back on Twitter, there was this, I won't say like, well, it was more or less of a debate topic discussion of, a certain individual on the socials wanted, to play the role of Miles Morales. Like, you know how people just tweet like, oh, I'll be great for the role, blah, blah. And a lot of the backlash or discussion was around, Miles is an Afro-Latino person. He is someone of Black descent and of Hispanic, Latin American descent. Should someone who is of that same descent not play the role? Will they not be the best person suited to embody all the things that are Miles? Because for a lot of people, you can't just have a Black person play Miles, because again, that kind of erases his Latin history and Latin side. And again, you could have someone who's just Latino play Miles, because again, it removes his Blackness, it removes his African American history as well, because he's these two cultures in one person. So a lot of discussion is about, how do you cast for someone of a minority group in film? Do you cast directly from that country, from that group into this role? Are they the best person suited? Personally, I lean towards that kind of side of things, especially because I personally believe that when it comes to a lot of minority characters and minority roles and minority actors, they aren't given the opportunity to shine the way that, for example, a lot of, traditional white, European, white, Latin, and for the most part, Black actors and actresses have that kind of shine. So it's a very sticky situation, a very sticky discussion, but I lean more towards the side of, if you have, for example, a person of Native American descent, try and find a Native American actor to fill that role. If you've got someone from, I don't know, let's go for, again, like the Inuits, or I don't think it's fine to call them Inuits, I'm not sure, my apologies if it's not. Find someone who's from that area. If you, again, like, again, and even looking
So
at things
with that, let me just come in. That,
go,
with
bro.
that,
Go.
does that, with that, if you only find specific people to play specific roles, do we lose the essence of what acting is? Because acting is playing a part, being someone or becoming someone that is not necessarily you on a day-to-day basis.
Acting is definitely being someone and becoming someone, embodying something or someone that you're not.
A character that is not you.
I absolutely agree with that. But when you look at the world of acting as it is, and you look at the people allowed to play these roles that are not them, allowed to embody these roles that are not them, it then becomes a question of why are you not giving these other actors from these minority groups the same shine to embody these roles the way you are giving these actors from in quote unquote non-minority groups, if you want to talk it in the essence of Hollywood and the actors and actresses that are given these opportunities. So again, it's like, okay, fine. You've got, for example, in Hollywood, you get a lot of times, you get a lot of straight heterosexual people playing LGBTQ characters. You get that a lot. And then what you don't get though, is you don't get a lot of LGBTQ actors playing straight roles. They either have to either play heterosexual LGBTQ role, and even then those are a dime a dozen, especially when a lot of the times they're given to straight people. So it's like, it's things like that. Then the question then becomes,
so
like,
even that, I would even bring up with Moonlight. That was a character, but that was obviously about the growing up, obviously, of LGBT black guys.
Yeah,
and obviously the characters that played those things, they weren't LGBT themselves.
They weren't.
Did you have a problem with that?
I personally didn't, only because if you look at Hollywood as it is, you can count the number of fingers or the number of LGBTQ actors from the black,
or openly LGBT,
open LGBTQ black actors. You can count them probably on one hand, and even then, they're not that many. So in that instance, I can give leeway to them casting a straight man, a straight people for that role. Fine, but when you have the opportunity to cast people, but the question then becomes, like, are you even looking? Are you actually looking for diverse actors to play these roles, or are you just looking to, like we said, cycle the same actors into the same roles over and over and over and over again? And again, I'm not disputing the fact that acting in itself is to embody something that you're not, because a good actor can portray that role
exactly as we've seen before,
as we've seen time and time again. I absolutely agree.
You can do both as well. I feel like I'm sort of slightly leaning towards where Timmy's at as well, because you can find these diverse actors, you can do representation, and you can also have other actors still playing these roles. If we didn't have these minorities who are marginalized from these roles so much, then it wouldn't be as much of a debate.
Of an issue. Exactly.
People wouldn't mind. We'd let it slide from time to time if we saw more representation, but because we don't, we see barely anything. That's why there's an issue with it.
And the issue also then becomes, when you do have actors from diverse groups and from minority groups, are they always playing the same role? Is the black guy you're hiring playing the thug, the guy in jail? The job is typecasting, exactly. Is the Latino person you're playing, the chola? Is he peddling drugs? Is he part of a gang? Is the LGBTQ guy or the queer guy you want to hire? Is he hyper feminine? Is he is he being a hoe? He's on the other, like all these kind of stereotypical tropes. Are you only hiring these diverse actors to fulfill those tropes? And then that adds to the problem of, you talk about the what acting is and being taken as a serious actor. Well, if you're not given those opportunities to portray other roles other than what you're typecast, it adds to the overall problem of acting. Don't get me wrong, I do not exist in the world of Hollywood. I am not an actor. I am not a director. So I'm looking at this from the outside perspective as are you two as well. So I mean, I don't want anyone coming to me like, well, as an actor, blah, 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 blah. I don't want all that. Don't come and mention all that. Please don't. I'm just saying from what I've observed and what I believe should be standard practice within the industry and what a lot of people have complained about. But that's where I stand. That's where I stand with it.
Also, that leads to, because I've heard a lot of people like complain about, obviously, when actors, they take specific roles that they're not necessarily from that community. Like, for example, the old voice actor of Cleveland was a white man, and he stepped down to give a black voice a chance. Do you think this was needed?
I think when you look at when Family Guy as a show was birthed and created, it was around the time when there wasn't, like, I want to assume there wasn't really a chance or opportunity for, you know, black voice actors to do these roles type thing. Like it's back in like 1997, 98. I think the first episode of Family Guy aired or something like that. Might be wrong. Might be a bit later than that. I'm not sure. But even like look at The Simpsons. Look at the guy who was cast as Apu. Apu isn't voiced by an Indian guy, but this guy clearly took on the role, has been voicing Apu as an Indian guy. A lot of people assumed the guy who voiced Apu was Indian. Turned out not to be the case. But again, it then becomes a case of like, well, are black voice actors being given, you know, the opportunity to portray black characters? And to be honest with you, there are very few black voice actors in, you know, in the space. Like if we look back at the cartoons we used to watch when we were growing up, a lot of the black characters were kind of voiced by the same people. One name that always gets brought up is Cree Summer. Cree Summer played so many black female characters in cartoons that, you know, if you're gonna have a black female character in the cartoon show, you're gonna cast Cree Summer. But if you look at the wide variety of shows that are out there, how many of those characters are voiced by black people, and how many of those characters are not black themselves? So it's a case of like, are you giving these people the opportunity to be cast for other roles? I mean, like, just because a character is white, does it necessarily have to be voiced by a white person? And, you know, it's a whole mess, because if you're not giving people the opportunity to go for these other roles and you're just going to typecast them, then you get the situations you have when you have a black guy being voiced by a white guy, an Indian guy being voiced by a white guy, you know. So yeah,
that also comes because I remember reading a while back that it manifests in different forms. Like, for example, a lot of people complain that Zendaya was getting cast in a lot of things as well. So do you think actors themselves should take it upon themselves that they should turn down things? Even though, at the end of the day, everybody's got to eat, you know, everybody's got to pay their bills or whatnot. So do you think for the great order, whatever, especially actors, do you think they should turn down certain things because they don't specifically fit that criteria?
So my first question is, what was the Zendaya issue?
I think the last movie, you know, the thing she did, she wasn't grown enough. But people say like just colorism and that, yeah. But just, you know, things that I've heard.
So basically, if an actor's offered a role, should they turn it down? Because in a perfect world, yes, they should. But we all know that you know, you got to eat, you got to pay bills, you got to make that money, and you're not going to change the status quo of Hollywood by, you know, turning down roles that, to be honest, you probably think you could play well. It's just if it's the luck of the draw if you get a good hiring director and a good director who wants to cast someone from a minority background in a minority role. That's just the luck of the draw. Until the status quo of Hollywood itself changes, I don't see a lot of actors turning down a lot of roles because of the, you know, casting, in a sense, issues.
That's I got confused. It was Zoe Saldana, because remember she took the role of Nina Simone.
Yep, and she went into blackface for it. Yeah. So
she darkened the face. Obviously, that comes with the colorism stuff. Like, so, like, for example, wood characters, and that even brings up our next point in terms of, like, obviously because she darkened herself up, but Black American, Black African, Black, obviously Black British actors have taken on roles where they've played substantial Black African American leaders. Like, for example, the guy who played Martin Luther King, or the guy who played 12 Years a Slave. What's his name? I don't know how to say his full name. My apologies, but is that issue also?
I would obviously, African Americans and Black Americans clearly have an issue with it because that is part of their history. I'm not going to say yes or no to that question in a sense, because I see both sides of the argument. Obviously, a lot of Black actors don't get the opportunities they get here in the UK. Hence, why they go to Hollywood, why they go to the States, and why they get the opportunities they get. And to be honest with you, it's a lot easier for British actors to take on American roles because they can do the accent a lot easier than Americans trying to do a British accent, which you've seen in the past. Like Don Cheadle tried to do an English accent in one film, can't remember it was absolutely abysmal. No disrespect to him at all, just the way the cookie crumbles.
No, but even just in terms of the Black British actors, like, a lot seems like from African American sides, they're getting picked ahead of African Americans for African American roles.
But you have to remember, a lot of British actors go through the traditional acting route. They do the whole, like, you know, they do theatre, they go to Brit school, they do like I think, I'm not trying to sound elitist in any kind of way, manner, shape or form, but I think the way they are schooled in acting is different to how a lot of the American actors for example, if you take the likes of Viola Davis and people who act in the same circles as her, she went to Juilliard, she's gone through the traditional acting schools and done all that, so you can see that in her acting, hence why she plays the role she plays. So again, I'm not trying to discredit anyone. If there is someone, if there are actors out there that have gone through these kind of traditional paths and learnt acting the way it's supposed to be taught, kudos to them. I'm not just to anyone, but from what I know of the British space and British acting, a lot of British actors go through that process that allows them to play the roles that they can play in the way that they are played. But I definitely see the issue that Americans have with British people coming over here, in a sense, to take their jobs. So it's a bit of a weighted argument, a bit of a weighted.
I can't lie, it got a bit ridiculous when I found out Daryl Lindo was not American.
I mean,
that ruined my head was like, what? He's not American. Like it seems that black British actors have infiltrated Hollywood on a crazy level.
The thing is,
someone did a thread. One of my friends just so different black actors that you don't know what actually British.
But there are no roles here.
So many American movies.
There are no roles here for them. They've said time and time again, there are no roles for them here. The very few British actors that stay here are having to carve out roles for themselves.
Also, that even leads to the next point with obviously the black lady. She becomes casted as which become a historical figure, Queen of England. Do you think that's the issue? That's dumb.
To me, that's dumb. Yeah. I can't lie. Sometimes keep the character white. I don't want a diverse casting for some characters. Keep it white. I don't need
because that's a historical figure. A lot of people say
well.
Go around.
It just has to make sense historically as well. So that's something like that. People just wouldn't take to it.
It's dumb to me. I know it's a drama, historical drama. You can take liberties here and there, but I don't see the point, because if you're going to cast her as black, sometimes either go all the way or don't do it at all. If you're going to cast one person as black, make the whole cast black. Take the absolute liberty of it. Recast everyone as black. Turn it into a whole black Renaissance thing. I don't know, but
then again, doesn't it become an issue when you're race changing actual historical figures, not just characters? For example, before you can race change characters that superheroes and whatnot, where things are flexible, the origins are flexible, flux. But when you're changing actual historical figures, does not become an issue.
No, I agree with you. Like keep historical figures the way they are. If a historical figure is black or white, keep them black or white. There's no point kind of race changing them for views or clicks or to come across as some fake faux diverse thing. But I think if you're gonna go down that path of, in a sense, race bending or race changing a character, go all out with it. Don't pussyfoot around it. If you're gonna do it. Like when they cast Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm, but they kept his sister white, and then said, "Oh, he was adopted." Don't give me that adopted bullshit. Go full on with it. If you're gonna recast in terms of race and change characters and actors, because it's like I said, it's a historical drama, so it's based off history, but it's not like a documentary. Go all the way with it. Push the envelope. Make it seem more interesting rather than you just, changing.
That's also another reason why a lot of British actors go to America, because the only things that get produced here are modern are timepieces where the Renaissance stuff. That's not even
you're right. Yeah, a lot of the time it's just like historical,
like the Vikings, Viking Tudors and Montagues, all that Shakespeare stuff. The Shakespeare era. That's the only thing that gets produced.
It gets kind of boring. Downton Abbey type things. I get it. It's kind of boring.
That's something that gets commissioned.
Yeah, like there's no kind of roles, and when you look at people like what's his name? Who's the guy who made Adulthood and Kidulthood? Neil Clark has had to carve out his own space within acting here in the UK. Became a producer, became a director, making all these TV shows and films and stuff like that do cater to black audiences and do cast and hire black actors from the UK. He's had to have done that because there wasn't space for them to do that there wasn't that avenue to do that within the current realm of film in the UK. But then you also have
back to your point that you had to make the same type of movie, because Kidulthood, Adulthood, all those type of movies. Like, don't you think those people become typecasted?
Absolutely.
They can make UK hood movies, so to speak. They don't get commissioned to make anything.
That is another.
It's either period pieces. Obviously, the BBC they commission, or the UK
or hood films.
They don't get anything else.
That was a debate for a long time. Like a lot of people were saying, like the black experience isn't just the hood. Like, give us more narratives around other things. Give us a uni setup. Give us,
people. We haven't got that, like a uni thing. Like
that would be great, but we don't get it. We get
uni goes crazy here as well, bro. So
people just want to watch Top Boy, innit?
Exactly, like the whole kind of like, hood, drugs, violence, gangs type narrative is sellable. It's easy to sell and peddle to majority white audiences. That's just a fact. That's what they like to see. That's what gets the views, and that's how they get that kind of assimilation from black culture and think black culture is cool because Drake was on the soundtrack and blah 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 blah. But there are so many more narratives around black culture, but we don't get to see that. We don't get to see the people working in 9 to 5s. You don't get to see people up in uni going to parties and sitting in a bathtub of beans for the kids for charity and stuff like that. We don't get to see just like, even if it's like like a form of just black kids going on holiday, and making and causing trouble. Give us that. I don't know, but it's.
I'll even say this question. This question's for Ryan. Like, in terms of like, do you think there's like a privilege chart in terms of like black British actors, their privilege compared to other black actors in the diaspora around the world?
I wouldn't say there's a privilege. No, I wouldn't say that, because I think, like we said, British actors, they have to go out. They have to go overseas to find their roles. Obviously, mainly Hollywood, like we said. I wouldn't say they've got a privilege, but there's nothing here for them. We've already said the type of shows that are produced here, or are like Top Boy. We've seen the actors coming up in Top Boy. He's done well. I mean, I'm not sure of his name, but there's no real opportunities for anyone to come through. So it's hard to say that they're privileged.
No, but in terms of other black actors, obviously black Africans, black African Americans, black South Americans, it seems like black British people are the ones that are always put on the pedestal. You think there's a privilege within that and within casting? Like, for example, I remember seeing like a clubhouse thing. Some black African American actors were saying that black British people get seen in a different light, like an elitist light.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. So do you think if, say, for example, you had a black African American went for a role and a black British, are you saying that more often than not, the black British man's going to get the role?
Yeah.
That's what it seems like, yeah.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to my point of, in a sense, what's on the CV. Mm-hmm. Where did they go to school?
I know obviously there's a big presence, obviously, like you said, John Boyega, Daniel Kaluuya, sort of those actors.
Idris, yeah.
You know what I mean? We've seen these actors time and time again, and they're starting to land more and more roles. So I see what you're saying. It's a hard one to call, to be honest. I'm not too sure, but we can definitely see the presence is felt in Hollywood. So maybe.
I don't want us to be sounding elitist, because obviously a lot of black British people say,
"Do you know what? I'm not.
I got trained in whatever all these art schools, because obviously acting is not just because a lot of the greatest actors, they didn't go to any of these schools, they didn't train at these places. You know what I'm saying?
But okay, so I just did a Google search, right? So when you look at so I just did a quick search on John Boyega. So John Boyega went to the Identity School of Acting, right? Mm-hmm. And the alumni for that school include people like Letitia Wright, Malachi Kirby, Damson Idris, mm-hmm. and Melanie Libbard, like all these kind of black actors from the UK who've gone on to play, kind of titular roles within the States. And I'm not sounding elitist. It's Hollywood that's built up this elitism. Of course, that's not me. It's Hollywood that's built up this elitism that mm-hmm. these actors have gone to these schools and have done this, in a sense, training to be able to play these roles on camera, and also have the history of playing. Like, if you look at a lot of British actors go through theatre. Like what? Mm-hmm. Like, for some reason, there's this thing about once you act in theatre, you can more or less do anything. And again, this is not from me. I'm not saying this. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's what Hollywood has put forward as, the standard. Mm-hmm. Again, I go back to Viola Davis and the caliber of actress she is, and her training and her schooling, and you can see that in her acting, and you can see that with the kind of actors she's put up against, the Meryl Streeps, the what's her name, the Dame Judi Dench's, and all these kind of big titular women who also went through the proper schooling and did all this and played and went in and acted in theatre. So there is definitely an elitism in Hollywood when it comes to acting.
So do you think if black African Americans, when they sort of set out to carve out their acting careers, if they went through different methods or like different schooling, education,
absolutely,
then you think there would be more space for them in these roles.
Absolutely. I think it's like I said, it's almost like, when you take your CV to for a job, innit? And they're looking through all the CVs, they're obviously going to start picking out the people that went to like the prestigious schools and did the prestigious jobs beforehand. Who went to Oxford? Where was your last role? Who like? It's just the way the things are. People are going to look for. Sorry, my camera's going in and out of focus. They're kind of looking for what sets you apart for the right reasons. Like, where did you go to school? Who did you work for? This and the other. So like, again, it's also down to like what's available to a lot of these people in terms of acting. Like, not a lot of these actors may not necessarily have the opportunity to go to places like Juilliard, and
that's what I'm saying. And a lot of his opportunity as well, because even a lot of the great actors, they didn't go to these top high market things. They don't actually. Also, what I've noticed in America, a lot of actors, they fall into acting. They fall into it. Like, for example, Leonardo DiCaprio, he never went to any of these things. He's one of the great top actors. So a lot of these, especially the black actors, that I don't know, they like rattle off. But if the casted agents only seen as that's a problem, we're only accepting people that went to these schools, then the whole system needs to be looked at rather than individuals.
100%. No, yeah, absolutely. It's a system problem from the top down, because especially for a minority actor, you're already a minority. You're already like more likely going to be typecasted into this whatever kind of role is expected to. So when you want to branch out and do other stuff, they're like, oh well, what makes you almost in a sense worthy of taking on this role? What have you done to take on this role? Blah 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 blah. Where did you go to school? Who's your agent? Like what agency you signed to? Stuff like that. It's all adds up and makes part of the package that makes you as an actor. And unfortunately, for a lot of actors, they have to, in a sense, trek through the mud of a lot of crappy roles before they get the role that allows them to shine the way they shine. And to be honest with you, a lot of white actors don't have to go through all that. A lot of white actors can act crappy in a lot of high-profile titular films and roles and get away with it because that's the system. That's what happens. Where sometimes it's like, oh, their mum was such and such actress, their dad was such and such director, their auntie is such and such producer, this and that. Like a lot of like what's the word I'm looking for? Nepotism. A lot of nepotism in Hollywood. A lot of nepotism. So that's also a factor. There's so many layers to this conversation about who gets a role and who's worthy of getting a role, or not even worthy, but that's how they say, like, who should play who, and is this person right for the role, and should we cast a minority person? There's so much that I think we're only touching the tip of the iceberg with this conversation. I don't think we get the full grasp and picture of it all, because Hollywood's a fucked up place if we're to believe everything that we've ever read and about it, like all the dodgy dealings that go on behind the scenes and all the kind of shady business that happen. Like, fam, personally, I would never be an actor. Personally, I couldn't do it. It just seems like too much work.
The next topic, I would say, I'll let Ryan start for this one. Should all anime, even though we hate it, but should all anime live action remakes feature Japanese actors, Ryan?
I think so, yeah, because I think with those roles specifically, I think it's integral to the character. I think the culture that's behind it, a lot of these animes that we watch, there's so much culture behind it that for me, they can't convey it properly if they don't use the right actors, which they haven't. You've seen it before, and I don't think there's any one live action anime that I like, and I think it's partly down to that. I think I would enjoy them a lot more if they did cast the right actors in those roles.
So, Tim, what's your thoughts there?
Yes and no, because there are many anime shows that aren't obviously based off Japanese culture, and there are some that are. The ones that are the ones that obviously should cast Japanese people in those roles. Yeah. I think also,
for example, I wouldn't expect Vinland Saga to cast Japanese.
Exactly, I wouldn't expect that.
It has to make sense, of course.
Like if you're like, we have to remember like that Japanese anime is the art style, not necessarily the actual characters themselves. But if you have an anime that is not having traditional Japanese people in it, yes, there's still going to be little themes and things that take it from Japanese culture. Like, for example, we might see someone bow to someone else as a sign of respect or greeting. That's just titular to Japanese culture, but then it's not a Japanese character that's being played. Then yes, you won't cast a Japanese person in that role. But if you have a Japanese character, cast a Japanese person. And I think also what we need to realize is that for a lot of anime shows get made live action over in Japan. Like, there are many There's a Naruto one.
Mhm.
There is a Attack on Titan one. There's 3 Attack on Titan ones.
Oh,
Bleach has been done. Death Note has been done. Oh gosh, so many animes have been made live action over there that obviously we don't hear about here. But when they are westernized and a Western production company wants to take it on, they just F it up. They F it up every time, and don't understand why. Look at, for example, I don't know whether it's really counts or not, but what M. Night Shyamalan did with
Avatar.
The Last Airbender is based on 4 types of people.
Mhm.
The Inuit people,
Mhm.
the Chinese people, the Japanese people, and the Tibetan monks. These are the 4 groups of people that are used as basis for each of the 4 nations within the world of Avatar. When M. Night Shyamalan did the casting for that film, a lot of that went out the window.
Mhm.
And again, it goes down to, why are you not hiring people from diverse backgrounds for these roles?
Yeah.
But then he made a statement about, well, we did hire, people of Asian and Pan-Asian descent for like the extras. Okay.
That's extras.
But 5 out of your 6 main leads were all white.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on there, bro? So, like,
I'd even say Dragon Ball Z as well, the live action. Those
again, Japanese
people.
That's the problem as well. Dragon Ball Z is very much a Japanese show, Japanese characters, Japanese tradition.
Why some white guy who went to like high school?
Do you know what I mean? What is going on? Why are you scared to hire a Japanese person to play the role? If you don't know any Japanese actors, go look for some. Like, it's not hard. Like, there are Japanese actors that exist, and I'm sure many of them live in the States, and many of them speak English great. If that's what you're looking for, look for them. If you don't want to look for them, don't make the damn film. Don't. I know. Okay, I know. I'm sorry. This is a tangent. But while I'm on this topic, it goes back to things like when companies are looking for people to be part of like promo or whatever it is, especially like in the gaming space, like looking for content creators to be part of their for example, like Women's History Month. So looking for content creators to be part of Women's History Month. Are you looking at Black women? Are you looking at women from other cultures? Are you looking at Asian women? Are you looking at Pan-Asian women? This and the other. But what you're gonna find is like a lot of the roster is just white women, white, and they make the excuse of like, oh, well, we couldn't find a Black woman, or we couldn't find an Asian woman, we couldn't find a woman of color. You didn't look. You didn't look. Did you look? Did you actually want to cast?
Extend enough resources to look into those diverse communities to find these people?
Did you ask?
It also comes to obviously the hiring of just diverse people anyway. Like, did you actually look into these things and go out and look for these diverse people?
If you're not diverse,
gimmick type things, like say Black History Month, a lot of companies come work with you. After that, it's crickets.
Mad crickets until they need you again for October or February, whatever it is. It's like, if you're not diverse behind the scenes, how can you then expect to be diverse in front of everyone else or on camera?
Yeah, in front of the screen.
Like diversity starts from behind the scenes. If your team is not diverse, how can you then be diverse or say you want to do something that's diverse when you don't know what diversity looks like to you? When you're 9 to 5 or 5 days out of the week out of 7, you don't work with or interact with anyone who is diverse or comes from a different background than you.
It also comes to this point: if your worldview, you're around people that you look exactly like, you're gonna hire people that you look exactly like, you think exactly like.
Exactly.
That's just how your worldview is gonna be. You're gonna need people maybe from outside to bring different ideas and just different types of people into the fold. Anyway, like for example, as you know, history in Hollywood, it's an old boys club, and how old people they all hang on the same people. If you got all the directors, producers, casting directors, the makeup people, if they're all white people, they're all gonna hire the same people, and it becomes even harder for diverse people to break into those worlds. Because obviously, when people think Hollywood, people just think people on the screen. No, there's some people that make the movie happen behind the screen that are not diverse either as well.
Like from the camera guy to the sound guy to the makeup guy to the set guy to the freaking intern that's growing up and now making coffees. If you're
the 3D guys, it's
the whole industry. It's the whole industry. If no one is diverse behind the scenes, you can't then say you want to make something or do something that's diverse when you don't know what diversity looks like.
How do you expect to make something diverse that's good? How do you expect to make it?
You don't know what diversity looks like.
You don't have anyone around you that's in touch with those cultures and so on. You need to, otherwise you won't be able to make it properly.
Like, being diverse takes work. Pushing for diversity takes work. It's not easy. It genuinely is not easy. So if you want to do it, do the work to make it happen. If not, just don't do it. I'd rather I'd rather someone just be like, I don't care about diversity,
Mm-hmm.
than try and push for diversity and then get it wrong. Just don't do it. It takes work. It's not easy. And if you don't want to do the work, that's fine. But if you want to do the work, do it well. Use the resources around you. If you want to, like going back to acting, if you want to make cast for a particular role, seek out someone to find a role. There are so many actors out there looking for their opportunity, waiting for that opportunity, and you know where to find them. Let's not front. People know where to find these kind of actors. They do. If they want to find them, they would find them, but they don't want to. They don't want to. And it's easy to cast and hire someone that they kind of worked with beforehand. Like we said, the actor that worked in the last film, they might as well hire them to do it.
Yeah.
Then seek out someone who's probably is better for the role, but they don't want to find that person. It's like I said, when it comes to Hollywood, it's a top-down situation. Until things change from the top, things can't change at the bottom. I will always be someone who will push for diversity as much as possible. If they can find someone that's diverse for the role, or someone from a particular background for that role, do it. If they can't, fine. At least just give us a good film. That's what I ask. At the end of the day, give us a good film. But it's going to be difficult until things change. It's just going to be the same thing over and over again.
I think that comes to the end of our discussion on that. Really.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, this will be coming to you. You know when it comes to you. I don't know why I keep doing this.
It's been nearly. Oh wow! When it comes to you, it's gonna be Tuesday. Should we release this on? Let's release this on. Yeah, we'll release it on our 4-year anniversary. It's Thursday.
Yeah, boom.
We'll do that.
We'll do that.
But yeah, so if you listen to this is our 4th year of the Nerd Council. It's been 4 years of us doing this, talking shit on the podcast.
You know the vibe. It's been a journey, man.
It's been a journey. It's been a real journey. I can't lie. I thought we would have ended this 5 seasons by year 2.
Hey, nah, fam. This is a 10-year project, bro.
We're in this for the long haul, bro. We're in this for the long haul. But
we're gonna have Nerd Council Junior soon, bro.
Look, that's an idea. But big ups to everyone that has supported us from day one. For real, like you guys are amazing.
Hopefully, when things open up, you can
listen. We're coming hard
by putting something on.
We are coming hard. Nerd Council quiz number 4 is gonna be a movie and an event, and if you're not there, you're not there. Gaming tournaments are coming. Movie screenings are coming. Everything's coming. When lockdown is over, we're coming hard. Trust me. Listen, I need a drink.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just think. What do you call it? Don't forget to use the hashtag the Nerd Council. Follow us on all social medias. We're everywhere, as you guys know that already. It's been Nudo.
Usual stuff. This is Timmy.
Yeah, over and out.
Are you a content creator looking for some new kit? Well, ELGATO has a quality range of products just for you. That's right, ELGATO isn't just for gaming content. From the chroma key green screen, the key light which provides studio quality lighting, and of course the new Waveron microphone providing outstanding quality audio, ELGATO is there to meet all your content creation needs. Visit elgato.com and check out the full range of products for more information. And a big shout out to ELGATO for supporting us.